Good morning, or afternoon. We have a lot of people calling in from the East Coast as well, so this would be starting your afternoon. My name is Jessica Pierce, and I am the founder and CEO of this organization, Career Connectors. And we are thrilled you all are here. You are in for a treat today. Let me tell you, we have two fantastic speakers, and we have a slew of career coaches and LinkedIn coaches and resume writers. And so we are so glad you all are here today. When you came into the call, you should have been muted. And if not, make sure you go ahead and mute yourself. We won't be in discussion during this first portion of the call, but the second portion of the call, we will allow everyone to have be in discussion. So welcome. If you all could just join the chat if you haven't yet. And so the chat will allow us to it will allow you to introduce yourselves. And so if you could drop in, make sure you have your name on your profile. And then if you could drop in where you're calling us from. And then also your target job or industry. This is one of the ways that we're networking and starting to network with each other. And so the chat is going to be really, really important today. And I encourage you to be in a place where you can actually engage in the chat. So sit in your office, sit at your home kitchen table, pull your car over, whatever it is. If you can be part of the chat today, that will really, really help up level this event for you and give you a lot more details and information and get your questions answered, because we're going to have people answering questions during the call as well. So go ahead and introduce yourself. I see people from all over the place. Arizona is where we're based. So welcome, Arizona folks. We're glad you're here. But we see Georgia, California, Texas, and so on, Virginia, DC, all over the place. So welcome. We're so glad you guys are all here today. All right. I wanted to tell you, start by just asking a couple questions. First of all, we know people are getting shaken up a little bit right now. The economy is a little odd. We're not really sure what's ahead. We've seen some increases in layoffs and some people actively job searching more than we have seen in the previous year. So we're going to be talking today where the jobs are, what kind of industries are hiring, and what is happening in the United States. And so, but what I want to know from you all is, if you are in active job search right now, could you just drop a 1 in the chat so we can kind of get a feel? You are in active job search. You've been looking. Yes. Great. Okay. You all are in the right place. You all are in the right place. We are here to provide the hope, but not only the hope, you guys, the resources and the steps to take and the action. Thank you, Sophia and Carolyn and Matt. Thank you. Active job search can be really, really tough. And just like Felicia is saying, it's too long. It's hard and it's taking too long. Would you mind dropping in, for those of you that are comfortable? Again, this is a place where it's confidential. This chat does not get saved. It does not get published out on any website. The recording is recorded, but not our chat. If you could drop in the chat, how long have you been in job search? Have you been, brand new? Maybe you got laid off yesterday, but 73 days, 2 months. You're just starting to look next week, 3 months, 1 month. So all over the board. So I want you all to see that you are not alone. You are not alone. Oftentimes we can sit at our desks and we can sit at our computers and feel completely alone. You are not alone. And there are people that want to support you, that want to help you. I did a social media video the other day, and yesterday actually, and posted on my LinkedIn account and on TikTok and a couple other things. But basically what the details of it were around, you guys, share your stories. Share your story. Get out on LinkedIn. Share your job search story. That's one tip I'm going to tell you today. If you are struggling and you feel alone and you're like, oh my gosh, when is this going to land for you? Share your story. Don't get discouraged, Abigail. Share your story. You're not alone. Tell people what's going on. Say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And, it's been 7 months. Lynn, it's been 7 months. And here are the things I've been looking for, but here's really what I'm looking for and what I want to do, because you're not alone. And what I've seen on social media is a storm of people surrounding others and saying, hey, we got you, whether it's even just a little like, or it's here's a connection to a resource I have, or here's a company I know that's hiring for somebody that is like you. So you can do that. Share your story. But today you're going to get a ton of information and a ton of tips, not just from me, but from so many people that want to support you and help you. And so that is our mission, is just to be able to build those stronger communities. And we do it through careers. We do it through careers. We do it to elevate communities, and we do it by empowering you. So that is why we're here. I have a really, really good friend, a speaker friend, and she says, I can give all the information. I can tell you what to do. I can give you the steps, but just like a personal trainer can tell you how to work out and tell you what to do, they can't do the push-ups for you. And so we can't do the push-ups for you. I have a trainer. I was with her 2 days ago, and she said, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do a squat. You're going to put the bar on the back of your shoulder or on your shoulders. And I go, we are going to do a squat, or I am going to do a squat. And she's like, oh yeah. And she laughed. So I told her the story about, she can't do my squats. I got to do my own squats. And so same thing, you have to take the steps, but we're here to support you in that. And so just a couple tech things as we get started. George, I hear you that job search can be difficult for people that feel like they're a little bit older or they're competing. I totally understand that. We actually have a talk coming up about that. Mindy, you too. We have a talk coming up about that, but I also have a reference for you. Kathleen, she's one of our moderators. If you would go out and pull the link from the Brenda Cunningham talk on ageism, and if you could go pull that link and drop it in the chat today, that would be great. And because you guys, that's a great talk on some of those issues that people are feeling. But okay, so you guys are all in the chat. Hopefully, if you're not in the chat box is in the bottom of your screen. It says chat. Click on that icon, and then you will be able to chat like we're doing right now. And sometimes if you're on your phone, it's in the top right hand of your phone, or there are 3 dots somewhere on your phone that you can click on and you'll see a chat option. As far as the display, if you check on the top right of your screen, typically the best view for these presentations is side-by-side speaker view. And so if you click on that one, side-by-side speaker view, you'll see the presentation, but you'll also see the speaker, the person who's talking. And then the first about hour and a half or so is our keynote speakers and a lot of resources. And then for the last hour, we move into what we call breakout rooms or networking. And that is where you will have professional resume writers, LinkedIn coaches, career coaches. We have our speakers. They will all have rooms that you can pop over to and directly get some coaching from them. Ask questions if you didn't get them answered during the talk, but make sure you stay on the call for that time of the day during our breakouts. Closed captioning is available for those of you that need it. It is on the bottom of your screen, and it just says show captions. You click on that, and you click on captions, and you'll be able to see the captions for today. All right, so what we're doing today is, well, I'm just going to finish up our welcome. I'm going to introduce your first keynote speaker, and he's going to talk about where the jobs are. And then you're going to hear from Dave Sherman about landing the job that you want, the one that you actually want. And I'm going to close it out. And again, we'll go into breakouts. And so we'll be available for all these different breakouts for you guys today. All right. I'm so excited for you guys to be hearing Trevor. Good friend. Trevor actually sits on the Career Connectors board because we stalked him until he said yes. And he is wonderful. Career Connectors is a nonprofit organization, but Trevor Stokes is making the world of work understandable, and he is the CEO of Partnership for Workforce Innovation. His extensive background in labor market analysis includes more than 400 regional labor market studies conducted for school districts, workforce boards, and departments of education and economic development organizations across the country. He is a fellow of the Aspen Institute, Arizona's Adult Education 2018 Partner of the Year, a member of the Arizona Association of Career and Technical Education, the Circle of Distinction, and Arizona's delegate to the National Governors Association Good Jobs for All American Initiatives. He has designed and led innovative projects, including the Arizona Advanced Technologies Network, the Maryvale Workforce Initiative, and the Arizona Career Business Credential. And I am honored to introduce you all to our friend and a distinctive board member for Career Connectors, Trevor Stokes. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Jessica, and good morning to everybody else. Fantastic to be with you this morning. I always look forward to these opportunities. I'm coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona, and before you ask, yes, it is a dry heat, but it is still hot. We're going to deal with it, though. I was in Puerto Rico the first part of this week, and I think I would rather have this dry heat than that 147% humidity or whatever it was I was swimming through when I walked down the sidewalk in San Juan. But as Jessica said, I want to share some information, do a presentation around this question of where the jobs are. I'm a labor market economist. I do macro level analysis of local economies, local labor markets all over the country for a lot of different reasons. We do that because school districts and workforce boards want to know what kind of training they should be offering. We do it because individual job seekers like you can benefit from understanding that big picture. And giving you that big picture is where we're going to start today. Then my colleague who's going to follow after me is going to get more into the specifics of once you've identified that target, once you've built that dream objective, how do you go get that job you want? So there is a big picture we're going to try to paint today. There is not, unfortunately, any silver bullet or any one 7-word sentence that I can offer you that will summarize the realities of the labor market, right? It's complex. There are a lot of factors that go into it. And more importantly, there are a lot of factors about you that determine where you fit into that labor market, right? So that's what we're going to go through today. We're going to talk about where the jobs are. As Jessica mentioned, I'm Trevor Stokes. I run an organization called the Partnership for Workforce Innovation. You can find us at careersthatwork.net if you ever want to check out the blogs and content that we put up there. But I will give you one quick theoretical overview. When I do my work, a lot of what I do is on that policy level, right? So we're helping schools, workforce boards, cities, states, decide how to prepare people for high quality careers, right? When we do that, we do it within this concept. We call it the edge economy, not the economy, but the edge economy, because we are really focused on this issue of education and how to create that sweet spot in the middle where what we are doing in education, the workforce, and economic development gets lined up so that education is actually creating opportunity. That is true on a regional level, but it's also true on your individual level. Employers are looking for skills. They're looking for a lot of other factors that we'll talk about today, but we want to make sure that you understand the theoretical framework from which we come. The tagline for my company is 3 words: intentional and informed. And today, as we go through this agenda, you're going to see that as the very first topic we're going to address, right? So we're talking about careers. I will address the elephant in this virtual room. I suspect that some of y'all might have noticed as soon as I started drawing through my introduction here that I carry just a hint of an accent. Now, I understand that you heard me start talking and y'all assumed that I'm from Brooklyn. I am not. I am actually from the mountains of East Tennessee. That's where I lived for 45 years. And when I talk about careers, there's a certain story that always pops into my head, and it involves my brother. Now, when I say that I am from the mountains of East Tennessee, I mean I am from the mountains of East Tennessee. Our farm where I grew up is about 18 miles from the closest red light. We are way out there. If you have ever seen a very old TV sitcom called The Beverly Hillbillies, I am pretty sure it was patterned after my family. So my brother is a law enforcement officer. He's with a small town police department. And recently there was an opportunity that he wanted to pursue, a chance to improve his career, just like a lot of y'all are doing today, right? He went to the city manager and said, you have a position open for a detective. I really want to throw my hat in the ring for that. The city manager looked at my brother, who was a sergeant at the time, and said, all right, Jason, I'll tell you what, we need somebody really smart for this position. So I'm going to ask you a few questions and we'll see if you have the brains it takes to handle this kind of a job. Let me ask you this. What is 1 and 1? My brother looked at him and said, well, that's 11. City manager said, not what I meant. Let's try something else. What 2 days of the week start with a T? My brother thought, said, well, that'd be today and tomorrow. City manager again said, not what I meant. Let me try one last thing. Do you know who shot Abraham Lincoln? My brother thought, said, I don't think I do. City manager kind of looked at him sideways, said, why don't you go find out? Come back and see me when you know. Well, he leaves the interview. He calls me up. I say, how did the interview go? He said, I reckon it went pretty well. They've already got me on my first murder case. Now, you're all muted, so I'm just going to assume you are laughing uproariously at that story, right? So that is a hobby of mine. I'm a member of the National Storytellers Network, which is a real thing. So every now and then, I just break off into goofy stories. You'll have to bear with me if I do that. The rest of our agenda today, we talked about intentional and informed career planning. So we're going to start, as I mentioned, painting a big picture that my colleague will finish up by really driving it home at the end of this section of the event. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit also about who's new. This is particularly in the Valley here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm using this as an example because I know we have people from all over the country in this event. And the things that I'm going to share about Arizona and what we're doing here are going to have similar realities in your community. I really want to show you where to find these kind of information, how to look at them, things like that. So I'm also going to show you who's hiring. We're going to look at what these opportunities actually are. Then we're going to get really into some details about what employers are looking for right now. And again, as an economist, I come at this from a data and statistics standpoint. So bear with me. If you're not a numbers person, I promise the guy coming on after me will be the other side of the coin, right? So something for everybody today, but we're going to wrap my part of this up by sharing strategies and free tools, free assets that you can take advantage of that are available online in your community at no charge. And I think you'll get some value out of that. So let's start with this one, the intentional and informed. Find your chat window one more time. And I want you to think about this question. There are in our system 954 different occupational profiles. Those occupational profiles aggregate more than 11,000 separate job titles. So I'm not looking for job titles. I don't want to know what job title you're looking for. What I'd like you to think about for just a minute is this. What would make you happy in a job? What is it that you are looking for in this one particular job that would make it right for you? Per your current understanding, we may do some work and you may change your opinion on this over the course of the next half hour or so. But for right now, drop me some thoughts in the chat. What is it that matters to you? Is it the money, the people you work with, the impact you can have? What is it that matters to you when you're identifying that dream job? Stability, development, the boss, culture, international culture, the work-life balance, ability to work from home, stability. You know, I think Jessica, I could probably just stop now. These folks are doing my presentation for me. There are 3 individual profilers that I'm going to introduce you to today. 2 of them I find particularly valuable. These are public resources that were developed by the United States Department of Labor. My personal favorite, and I'll show you how to access this at the end of the presentation, is the Work Values Profiler. And I love one of those comments in the chat where you said, you know, being able to help others is what would matter to you in a job. Here's what I learned in doing work with the Department of Labor in helping to develop this profiler and its applications. Everybody, theoretically, everyone is going to be motivated and find satisfaction in a career based on some combination of these 6 factors. There is not a right or wrong in this list, right? Everyone is motivated by some combination of these. Working conditions includes your physical environment as well as earning potential, benefits, things like that. Other people are more motivated by the people with whom they work. They want to develop those personal relationships, or they want to feel supported, or they want to know they are really making a difference in through what they do, or they like to be recognized for their work. They want the assurance that comes from being rewarded, being awarded, things like that. Others want to be able to work independently and not have that traditional structure that they feel stifles their creativity. So there's not a right or wrong, and everyone is motivated by some combination of these factors. Now, I'm going to go into economic and labor market data, and I'm going to show you that we can use these public data systems to actually find these sort of values in these available jobs. And we're going to be able to find your fit in these kind of work values. The other one that I like is the interest profiler, and it does something similar. It shows 6 different values that are more about you as an individual, not just about your approach to work, but about what makes you tick as an individual. The best job for you is the one that matches your passions and your aspirations, right? There is not a silver bullet response to the question of what is the best job for me. It's going to be different for everybody. And here's the bad news. There is not a magic button, even in the App Store, that you can press that tell you what that perfect job is. It is going to require hard work over a significant period of time for you to understand yourself and then translate that inventory of yourself into career goals, right? So if I go now into some statistics and data, can you hang with me? I'm going to go nerdy economist on you for just a few minutes. If this is not your bag, just hang with me, be patient. I think you'll get something out of it. It will not be this technical the entire time. Here we go. A couple of things I want to talk about. Hiring and labor market dynamics out in the US economy right now. What is going on big picture? Our unemployment rate is historically low. Our labor force participation rate, meaning the number of people participating in the labor force, has yet to reach its pre-COVID levels. This is a number that never moves, but it went off a cliff in 2020. We are still not back to it. The unemployment rate that I talk about, I sometimes hesitate to even mention it because people want to treat it like a magic bullet, something that will tell you economy good or economy bad. And it is not that simple. There are a lot of things that go into it. Those of you who are looking for full-time work might be able to relate to this line. The unemployment rate currently sits, or did sit at the end of the year. I stopped it here because it hasn't really changed much since then. But I wanted to point out that it peaked at 13% during the COVID years. However, those looking for part-time work experienced unemployment at approaching 24%, meaning that a lot of folks who likely, because they were working part-time, did not have significant savings or the ability to weather a long storm were hit the hardest. Some of you may be able to relate to that. Now, I promised that my technical portion of this would be brief. Here we go with the most technical part of the entire thing. What I've mapped here is in the Western United States, people who were fired or laid off from their jobs. What's happened in the last decade is on this graph, right? You will see that the number of people being laid off hit historic lows over the recent months and over the last year or so, right? If an employer has a quality individual on staff, that employer is likely going to do whatever's necessary to keep them on payroll because it is simply too difficult to replace them, right? However, when we look at the number of people being hired, we saw a spike, meaning we have fewer people quitting, but more people being hired. Well, that likely means that we have some pressures creating new opportunities in the job market. Looking at the number of people who quit jobs every month is one of the ways we evaluate the health of the labor market. Because if we see people quitting jobs, it likely means they are confident in their ability to go find another one. So we saw a very dramatic increase in the number of people quitting jobs that started, though, to tail off toward the last half of last year. It is still historically high, but it is trending downward at this point. And that makes it one of the reasons that I suspect a mild to moderate recession might be on the horizon somewhere in the next 12 months. Last line I'm going to show you here. You ready for this one? I'm about to show you the number of job openings reported per month over the last decade. After the COVID years, the number of job openings blew away every recorded level in the history of this instrument. We call this the Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey. We had never seen the peaks that we hit around the middle of last year. Since then, while it's still high, we are seeing that number come down, right? So what does that equate to? That equates to a reality right now where there are about 1/2 of one unemployed persons available for every job opening in the country. It was not that long ago that people in my world, economists, would have told you that it is entirely impossible to ever see that blue line go below that red line. It happened in around late 2017, early 2018, spiked during COVID, but has since recovered and surpassed where we were before. What this means in terms of translating this into intelligence for your job search is this. It has been a historic job seekers market, but that pressure is starting to change and it's starting to cool. An employer even saw an article in Forbes a couple of days ago that said employers are beginning to reassert control over that hiring process in a way they haven't seen in a couple of years, right? Again, all this is extremely complex. I'm trying to start with some big picture perspective from which we can drill down, but I will share one last data point with you on this. Across all of last year here in the Western United States, among all the people who left jobs, around 70% of them voluntarily quit. And only about 23% were because of layoffs or firings, right? Is that new? It's kind of different. From 10 years ago, we saw that the percentage of quits the percentage of people leaving a job who did so because they voluntarily quit was around 50%, right? Now, that number is around 70%. Those who are involuntarily leaving the job used to come in around 45%. Now that's around 25%, meaning that we are seeing a different profile in the labor market. And there are pressures that we are hoping that you are going to get equipped to take advantage of to go meet the needs that we're finding here in this labor market. This is one of the things I like to look at here in Arizona, right? Because I'm sharing, again, examples from my community here that I hope you'll be able to interpret for your own. But here in Arizona, we do something called a location quotient. Find this everywhere, and I'm going to connect you to some of these resources as well. What this tells me is what industries are unique here in Arizona, and specifically here in the Phoenix metro, right? If that number said 1.0, that would mean we have exactly the same number of jobs in that industry that we would expect to see in a community this size based on national averages, right? So in finance and insurance, we actually have around 40% more jobs than you would expect to see in a community this size, right? Meaning we have a unique presence there, and there are unique opportunities in that sector. We see similar concentrations in administrative and waste services, mainly because there's a company called Waste Management, which sponsors a big golf tournament every year that you may have heard of, that is headquartered here and employs a lot of people, right? There are other things that we look at in more detail. Here in Arizona, for example, one of the areas when we look at these very detailed industries, the one that is most uncommonly concentrated here in Arizona is the mining sector. Copper is a huge thing here. Copper drives a lot of our economy. But another area where we have more than 10 times the jobs that you would expect to see is in guided missile and space vehicle manufacturing. We build satellites here. We build missiles here. There's a company called Raytheon that builds missiles for the United States Navy. Credit intermediation is another one. I showed you that finance and insurance is strong here. And one that I'll touch on in some more detail, semiconductor manufacturing. The chips that make your phone work, the chips that make your tablets and your laptops work, have traditionally been manufactured in Taiwan, and some here. Now, a strategic direction for the country means that we're making more of those here than ever before. And I'll show you what we did to get some of those jobs here. Who's new? Here in the Valley. This is from our Economic Development Department. And I wanted to share some quick perspectives, not just on who's new, but I want to give you some level set. This is employment in Arizona. It is roughly similar across the country. Here in Arizona, the healthcare and social assistance sector just a couple of years ago passed up government as our largest employer. We also have a lot of jobs in retail, accommodation and food services, and then you see the balance, right? When we look at those in terms of where they are growing, and again, this is why we started with the concept that we did around what matters to you. Does it matter to you that you're in an industry that is likely not going to go anywhere, that is showing growth, not decline? You want that security? These growth patterns may matter to you then. If you're more interested in entrepreneurship or social relationships, which are equally legitimate, then we have other ways we're going to share this as we go. So across Arizona, what we have seen in growth is healthcare and social assistance. Over the last decade here in Arizona, we have added more than 100,000 jobs in the healthcare sector. What does that mean to your job search if you are a healthcare professional? It means that these organizations that have experienced growth, that are driving this number, may really be worth looking into. Construction has made an astounding recovery, adding almost 70,000 jobs over the last decade, just here in Arizona, right? Other ways we look at this are the rate of growth, and I'll show you why this massively crazy number is at the top. We never built cars in Arizona before. We went from effectively zero. I think we had 15 jobs in automotive manufacturing 10 years ago. We now have around 3,000. So you can do the math. That equates to a huge rate of growth, right? So for a graphic, I'm going to take that great big number at the top out and show you where we see growth over the last decade in the rest of our industries. One of them that we see is warehousing and storage. How many of you shop online? Yeah, you shop online, right? To make that happen and get those deliveries to your house, there have to be a lot of businesses that are handling the transportation, the warehousing operations that enable those kind of logistics. The other way we look at these industries is in the way they pay, the kind of salaries they offer. Here in Arizona, the single best paying industry we have is that new and immensely growing semiconductor manufacturing sector. And you see the balance of the industries and the way that they offer earning potential. Again, I'm trying to tie this back from macro level perspectives to those individual priorities we started by talking about, right? Some of you are very motivated by this earning potential. I'm one of them. When I take that work values profile that I showed, I score off the chart on working conditions. That's what matters to me, right? I'm driven by that ability to earn money. I'm driven by that. I want that good working environment. I want that earning potential. Those benefits packages matter a lot to me. They don't matter as much to everybody else. That's why we show you these different perspectives on the industries that are happening. When we look at that semiconductor manufacturing industry, here's some of the news that is worth tracking in Arizona. And you're going to get the link to look these all up in the end of the slides here. Semiconductor manufacturing has been in Arizona for a long time. Intel just invested $20 billion in a new plant. We brought in a new company called TSMC, which is actually almost literally in my backyard. They are spending $40 billion to build a new facility to create these chips. What does that mean to the labor market? It means that there are I still don't know how many people this is going to be, anywhere between 2,000 and 7,000 people working in these 6 fabs producing these chips. Those are skills that are now critical to Arizona's economy and that very likely will offer opportunities to the people who hold them. Transportation and warehousing is growing as well, with a number of exciting new companies being offered in here in our area, right? When they invest, more than $200 million in a new 250,000 square foot freezer facility all the way up in Kingman, Arizona, you can rest assured that they're going to want to staff that appropriately and have the right people in those jobs, not just the right equipment in the facility. Electric vehicle manufacturing is brand new to us, but it is something that is growing. So when this company, Lucid Motors, first came to Arizona, their biggest single concern was whether they would be able to find people who have the kind of skills it takes to build high-end luxury electric vehicles. This company calls themselves the Tesla killer. They have a luxury electric vehicle that right now can go 470 miles on a single charge, crank out massive amounts of horsepower and acceleration, but they have plans in their product design to actually have 1,000-mile range on a single charge by 2025. Absolutely incredible technology, right? But how does that technology happen? It happens because they find people with the skills to make that happen. We have smaller companies like Electromechanica and LG Energy who are also sprouting up in the area to support Lucid Motors and what they are doing in the electric vehicle sector, right? So I told you about who's new. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and quickly show you who is hiring. And then I want to get into showing you these resources on how you can build this kind of intelligence and intentional, informed career strategy for yourself. For this section, I didn't look at raw statistics from traditional economics. I rather went and looked at job postings. The way this works is we have a system that allows us to look at all the job postings from any particular industry or job type. We put them all together, and then we aggregate that data set, and we pull it apart to see what's being mentioned most frequently. Okay, so the value here is we are getting information directly from the people who are making hiring decisions. This is what they put in their job descriptions. I know you're looking at one job description at a time, most likely. I'm trying to back it out a little bit, let you see that big picture, and see if you can get some perspective from looking at it from that higher level. All right. Again, bear with me. It's going to get down to that individual level here very shortly. But one last look at some statistics and information. I pulled job postings across Phoenix, and I think you'll find some similar findings if you were to look at this information from your community as well. So when I did this, I went back a year. I wanted to see all the job postings that showed work being done in the Phoenix metro area across the last year. Altogether, that included 1.1 million job postings from 42,000 unique employers, right? So a lot of these employers, posted multiple times, of course, but we looked at first across all industries and all job types. That's what I'm going to share with you first. So quick question or quick summary again. The industries that we saw making these job postings, total number of job postings, were led by employment placement agencies. Not surprising, temporary help came in number 2. The largest direct hire industry was in hospitals. More than 42,000 total job postings were online for the Phoenix metro area across that 1-year period. Hotels, schools, and commercial banking followed that up, right? So who are those employers? Well, here in Arizona, our largest, or not largest, most active employer over the last year has been a little company called Banner Health. They operate hospitals and medical services here in Arizona, and they have 15,000 separate times posted a job opening. Now, altogether, you're looking at more than, I think it was 72,000 job postings, but we deduplicate that and try to understand that, they may have posted 8 different times for a single job opening. So this is our best effort at estimating specific job openings. But it is interesting here in Arizona that it's not just that hospitals company that's super active. It was also a financial services company. And then it was Amazon, and government is also included in that list, right? These are the top employers that were posting across that last year. So if we break those down, we look at finance and insurance specifically. Here in Arizona, as we mentioned, Wells Fargo is leading that chart. USAA, Bank of America, and you see the rest, all following it up. It's not just one company. Getting perspective on the industry can help you create that intentional and informed career strategy that you can translate into an individual plan. So we looked at finance and insurance. I also wanted to show transportation and warehousing. Here in the Arizona area, UPS has posted more than 800 individual job openings. We see the same with C.H. Robinson, FedEx, Swift Transportation, and others, right? So that's the who. Let's talk about the what. What are they trying to fill? What kind of job openings? Well, across this same study, you may not be surprised if you spend time in the healthcare sector, but there's a massive demand for registered nurses. We hear it everywhere we go. But behind that, coming in at number 2, we saw customer service reps. And then just in terms of raw numbers, software developers. We then also saw the others that you see in the balance of this table. Those are the occupations being recruited over the last year here in the Phoenix area. When we looked at construction as a sector, I wanted to zero in on this and make one last observation on this type of work. We looked at the construction industry. And industry is a type of business, right? A company that is engaged in construction as its primary output, those companies don't just hire construction occupations. They don't just hire tradesmen, right? The third most frequently posted opening from construction companies was for sales representatives. Number 4 was for real estate agents. Does that surprise you? Real estate agents are employed in the construction sector. It's actually the second largest sector in which real estate agents work, behind real estate sales itself, right? We also see customer service representatives and secretaries and administrative assistants being recruited into that construction industry as well, right? So last part of this statistical part, what is required? When we looked at all of these jobs across the last year, I broadened this out and looked at the national perspective. Would you be surprised if I told you that nationally, the single most frequently requested skill of any kind is not software development, it's not engineering, it's not artificial intelligence, it's communication skills. And it was mentioned in almost a quarter of all job postings of all types across the entire country. Communication skills, customer service, management, sales comes in at number 5. These are the ones most frequently mentioned, right? When we broke it down into specialized skills, you actually had to go down the list a little bit, because the ones that are mentioned most frequently are those personal and interpersonal skills, the soft skills or employability skills, we call them. Top specialized skills in terms of how frequently it's mentioned: project management, and then marketing, right? So here in Arizona, I wanted to break it down, and this I thought was really telling as well. I wanted to see what softwares were mentioned most frequently, right? What are employers looking for in terms of specific technical skills that you need to have? And the number one, and as a data nerd, somebody who lives in spreadsheets all day long, I can tell you it kind of made my heart sing to see Excel mentioned this frequently in all these job postings. Other Office applications, including PowerPoint and Word, were also mentioned often. Outside of those Office applications, SQL, Python, Salesforce, and Java, including JavaScript, were also mentioned frequently, right? So with that, how do you get to all this information yourself for your own job search? Couple of strategies I want to recommend. Number 1, take the time to inventory yourself, to understand your own priorities, your own aspirations. And let me speak to this for just a second. There is a big difference between building a long-term career strategy and building an immediate response to crisis. If you have been unemployed for a long time and you have bills to pay, you absolutely may find yourself in a position where what you need is a paycheck. You need to pay the bills in the short term. And if that's the situation you're in, that's fine. Take that job, pay the bills, but my recommendation is, when you do that, don't assume that you have reached the end of that career search process. Find that real career pathway. When you have that cushion of a current job and a current paycheck, take that opportunity to build an intentional and informed career strategy, right? So inventory yourself, take those interest profilers, take that work values profile that I'm going to share with you, and take the time to understand where you want to be in the near future, even if you're nowhere close to that right now, right? In order to do that, or when you do that, then understand the market and where you fit into it. The data, the perspectives, the news that we shared today will help you understand where you fit into that market, into those labor market dynamics. Number 3, build that informed career exploration process. the thing that I talk about all the time in schools when I'm talking about people just starting their career journey is career literacy, right? I want people to understand those career opportunities, understand career strategies, and be able to do it on purpose, not to just fall backward into the first thing that they can find. Let's make it intentional. We have resources and information available that will facilitate intentional career planning. So if you're going to start with that inventorying of yourself, here's one that I recommend. Find a system called headed2.com. In Arizona, you can actually find an individual or customized version of this that is specific to Arizona data and Arizona opportunities. Just take out the AZ dot part, go to headed2.com. You can find your own state there. You can create an account. And when you do that, there are options for that work values profiler that I just showed you, the interest profiler, as well as some others. And here's where it gets so cool. Once you take those profilers, you inventory yourself, you find your own passions, your own priorities, your own aspirations. It will match you to the jobs and the career pathways, all the way down to current openings that match best with your results. Phenomenal tool. I helped develop it back in the day, back when it was first being built. Don't have any current stake in it, not trying to sell you on it. It is free. Help yourself. I believe in that system because it's like I said, it kind of has my fingerprints on it. So I hope you find value in it. But it is certainly one of the tools that I recommend. Number two, when you want to understand the market, this is a little bit different because it gets into some of those complicated statistics that I shared earlier. But every state has a state labor market office. They're required by federal law to have this office. In Arizona, we call that the Office of Economic Opportunity. And you can find it here at this link, right? When you go to this link, you will find all the data that I shared today on the economy, on trends, things like that. What's the unemployment rate? Who's unemployed? Are people with a bachelor's degree unemployed at the same rate as people with a high school diploma? Sneak peek into that. The answer is no. The more education you have, the less likely you are to be unemployed for a long time. But all those authoritative statistics can be found here for Arizona, but go to your state's labor market information office and you will be able to find that information for your state as well. If you want to see analysis rather than just the raw statistics, I recommend this one in Arizona. At the University of Arizona, they host the Eller Economic and Business Research Center, and they put up fantastic, well-documented, well-researched, and predictable analysis of the local economies in Arizona, and your state very likely has something similar. It is worth your time to be able to talk about what's going on in your local economy when you go talk to an employer, right? I counseled a job seeker recently. She was going to an interview for a job as the manager of a car wash, right? Why in the world would it matter to her to be able to cite economic statistics when she goes to interview for a job essentially managing people who wash cars? It mattered because when she went to that interview, she was able to say, I know that there has been 11% growth in this industry over the last 5 years. I know that what you're dealing with right now very likely includes trying to fill jobs that didn't exist in your company just a few years ago. I understand the pressure you're under. We can find the right people. We can take all these Yelp reviews that I just documented for your company in this little one-pager that I built, and we can figure out how to keep those 5 stars at 5 and how to turn the 1s into 5s by getting the right people into these positions. Needless to say, she got that job, right? That's the way I like to leverage this perspective on the labor market as a whole. When you go to informed career exploration, there is something here in Arizona that we love called Pipeline AZ. Pipeline AZ will allow you to build your own profile, look at current opportunities, current employers here in the market. Lastly, this is a public national resource produced and enabled by the United States Department of Labor. It's called My Next Move. And this will put all of those career exploration resources in one place for you. Individual profilers, individual career exploration, all of those assets are here in one place, but will give you a more national level perspective, including, and this is one of the things I like most about this system, what kind of industry certifications and training and apprenticeship and on-the-job opportunities are available related to a specific career. So you want to break into software development? Great. You don't have the time at this point in your career to go pursue a 4-year degree. What kind of short-term training and certifications are available to help make you look attractive to that potential employer, right? You'll find all those resources at My Next Move. So I'm going to wrap it up with this. So how do I boil all this down into what I am asking you to do in response to this presentation today? Well, before I turn this over to my colleague, whose presentation I cannot wait to hear, because I think he is going to take what I just showed you and boil this down to that individual level approach a lot better than I just did by trying to set this big picture stage for you. But it looks like this. Number one, I recommend you make an effort to understand yourself before you try to understand the market. Do those profiles, sit and think, go somewhere quiet like I'm an off-roader, the lake behind me. I like to go sit there and I'll spend 2 days on the shores of this lake sometimes, no connection, no anything. I just sit and think, right? And it takes, sometimes if you're in crisis mode or immediacy, you don't want to take that time. That time's important. Understand yourself and where you want to go, and you might get some better clarity about where you fit in that labor market. Number two, connect with your resources. This organization is phenomenal. If I didn't believe in the mission of Career Connectors, I wouldn't be on the board, and I wouldn't be here going through this information with you today. I do believe in it. Leverage that. Take advantage of it. You can find something wrong with any situation or organization, but you're not going to find one much better than this one. Take advantage of those assets, take advantage of those resources, leverage them to the hilt, right? Also connect with your local resources. Your workforce board, in many instances, can connect you to no-cost job training, including training that maps to a college degree in many cases. Go find your local workforce system, connect with those resources. And finally, I encourage you to do this. Explore what you want, not just from the perspective of that one next job, but from the perspective of a career pathway. Education and employment should not be mutually exclusive experiences. While you are working, continue to develop those skills and document those skills as you go, because where you are now does not have to be where you stay. Your ultimate destination is not determined by your current circumstances. So think about the future, be strategic, and engage in that intentional and informed career exploration process. So with that, I will close. Contact me at any time if you like. I really do appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. And Jessica, I would like the record to reflect that Trevor Stokes just finished a presentation only 1 minute behind schedule.
This is my slow clap, Trevor. Oh, you guys, I mean, he is just the expert in this area. How about a thank you? How about a drop something in there for Trevor in the chat? Thank you, thank you, thank you, Trevor. We had a lot of questions, and I think he answered all of them at the end on where you can find this information for your state. Arizona is where we are locally, but so he used that as an example. But you can find this information for your state, and we dropped in all the links on the chat. Also, the other big question we keep getting is, are you sending this PowerPoint out? The information is so good. We do not send the PowerPoint out because it's a very large and it has intellectual property embedded into our PowerPoints. And so but we do post the Zoom call, and the replay is available for any time. And so if you registered for today, which you all did, you will get the link in your email. It usually goes out by tomorrow, usually same day, but sometimes the delay on the Zoom. So you'll get an email from us that will have the link. So Trevor, let me see if I had any other questions for you. One of the other questions that I had is the wages that you were showing. Were those medium? Were those like 80%, or were those highest end wages for those industries?
When I use the wage data for industries, that was the median value of compensation. So that included both salary and the value of benefits packages at a median level for the whole industry.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you for answering that. If you guys have any other questions, just drop them in the chat, and Trevor's going to be around and we'll be able to address those. And again, he is available in the breakout sessions to have a chat with if you have some additional things you'd like to understand. And again, thank you, Trevor. We're so grateful for you and for your service to our board. Thank you. All right, a couple other things, you guys. One of the things we would love to do with you all, now that you're getting becoming experts at the chat, is we would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. And so Career Connector started as a networking organization. We still are, and we have a ton of job services and resources. But if you all can connect with each other on LinkedIn, and then you can connect with us, it's another way for you to get a referral to somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. We're going to talk next. You're going to hear from Dave Sherman, who is the networking guy, and he's going to talk about landing the job you want. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is drop in the chat my LinkedIn URL. Please drop yours in as well. We all would like to connect with each other. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Ryan and Maddie. We would love to connect with each other. And if you aren't sure how to do this, I'm going to put the instructions also, but exactly what you're seeing here, we want to make sure it's blue and it's clickable. And so you can just jump out to your LinkedIn profile. Once you click on your picture or get to your profile, the URL will be in the search bar. Copy that and paste it right in here. And the reason we want it blue is that means I can click directly on it and we can connect to each other. Thank you, Terry and Kitty and Ivana. Awesome. Dory, thank you guys for dropping in your URL. Please connect with each other. It's all about the connection. All right, you guys, we're going to move on to our next speaker today, and that is Dave Sherman. Dave Sherman is an internationally known sales trainer, speaker, and best-selling author. He was an award-winning retail business owner and has written 3 best-selling books on sales, networking, and marketing. He is the proud father of Lindsay and Matthew and is married to his wonderful Lisa. He lives in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. He loves golf, movies, and any kind of travel, and his only real vices these days are a good bottle of red wine and a great cigar. So please help me welcome Dave Sherman.
Thrilled to be here. Jessica, thank you very much. Trevor, great presentation. Hopefully I'll get to follow up on a lot of what you talked about, and just absolutely thrilled to be here. I've been speaking to Career Connector events for quite some time. I just absolutely adore it. I adore everything that Jessica and her team are doing. And yeah, so I'm just thrilled to be here. All right, I have a very short period of time. And you can't go along with Jessica because she will pull that hook out quick. So let's dive right into this. Before I get started, I want to throw in kind of like a little asterisk. What I am sharing with you today is an experience. It is something that I experienced and things that I learned. It isn't going to be for everybody. There's going to be content in here for everyone. Everyone's going to be able to walk away with some tips and tools and ideas and things that they can do. But if by some chance I'm going through some of this and you're saying, yeah, I don't know if that really fits for me, stick around and see what else you come out with. because my goal is to share with you a really interesting experience that I've been through, and really kind of what I've gone through over the last, about 10 months. And it's kind of a new experience, and I just want to share it with you. So we're going to dive right into this. All right, let's see. I think I have access screen. Yay! All right, landing the job you want. Any of you recognize the art on this one? You either are a young person or you are somebody who has young children, because this is one of my favorite books, Where the Wild Things Are. So just there you go. Thank you very much, Tara. My job here is to help you find a way to land the job you want. Trevor shared great information on how to build your career and how to build what you're looking for. I was very fortunate. Let me give you a little bit of background. About 9 months ago, I departed a local company here in Phoenix. And I left and I said, okay, I got to get a job. I'm not independently wealthy, so let's go do something. So I went through and I applied for hundreds and hundreds of jobs. I interviewed with probably 20 or 30 of them. It took me about 3.5 months, and I eventually landed a tremendous position with a company called Sabre. They do travel technology. Loved everything about it. Loved the company, loved my team, everything. I mean, it was just quite possibly the perfect job. Well, then I had an experience I've never had before. On the 15th of May, myself and over 1,200 other people, I was laid off. And it's funny, I tell people this, and they give me a funny look whenever I say it. I've been fired. Laid off is worse, because we were killing it. I mean, we were moving the needle. We were doing great work. And somebody many rungs up the ladder from me said, you're out of here. And that was crushing. So I said to myself, okay, I'm still not independently wealthy. I need to find a job. So I am here to tell you, I'm going to fast forward to today. I am thrilled to tell you that in the next 6 weeks, from the 15th to whatever 6 weeks is, I applied to 221 jobs. I got rejection notices or no emails from almost 100 of them. I interviewed with 14 of them, and I'm thrilled to tell you that I got a tremendous job doing exactly what I wanted to do. It took me less than half the time it did from before. It's more money. It's a 100-year-old company. I mean, it's in an industry I've never been in and never thought I would get in. So what I want to explain to you is how I did this, how I was able to go from this job that I adored, like, oh my God, I got laid off. And if you can look at me, I'm no spring chicken, okay? I got some years on me. So it's like, they're not looking at me going, oh my God, we have to hire this guy. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share some ideas with you on where I think you're going to be able to land the job you want. Trevor was talking about where the jobs are. My suggestion to you, and there are many places to look. Okay, oh, that's what I want you to look at. My suggestions are the jobs are at LinkedIn. I used to go through ZipRecruiter, and I've gone through monster.com, and I've used a lot of these, and I really like a lot of them. LinkedIn has always been the place that I have always fallen back to, because they are on top of it like nobody else. So for those of you that are looking for roles, really spend a lot of your time on LinkedIn. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, because there are people that are involved with career connectors that are far better at it than I am. But use LinkedIn to find your next job. So here's a couple of tips. Number one, your job is to find a job. People always say, oh, I'm unemployed. Guess what? You're not unemployed. Your job is to find another job. And you have to look at it that way. Every single day for 6 weeks, I would be in this desk chair at 6:30 every morning, and I seldom left till probably 11 or 11:30. Now, some of you are saying, well, that's only 5 hours. Yeah, ask yourself, are you doing 5 hours every single day looking for your next career adventure? So every day, this is what I would do. I would set up interviews in the afternoon. I would follow up with people in the afternoon. But you have to be tenacious. I applied for 221 jobs. And you're wondering, how do you know that? We're going to talk about that later. I track all the work that I do. You have to be tenacious. There are jobs out there. Okay, I knew exactly what I wanted. So for those of you that aren't sure what you want to do, some of this will be helpful. For those of you that do know what you're looking for, listen to every word I am sharing with you. I wanted to be a senior sales enablement manager. Sales enablement is a fancy way of talking about sales training, helping people do better at sales. I've done it my entire career. I am ridiculously good at it. I am certified in a methodology that a lot of companies are using. So it was the right place for me to be. And that's all I looked for. So when you're looking for a job, you got to understand you have to do what the other person isn't willing to do. I don't know anybody that spends 25 to 30 hours a week minimum looking for their next career opportunity. If you want to find a job, put in the hours. For those of you that are already doing this, God bless you. For those of you that are sitting there going, okay, I'll apply for a couple of jobs and then I'll go, watch reels on Facebook and sit in front of the TV. Doesn't cut it. You got to put in the work that other people aren't willing to do. Next one, apply for everything in your field. A lot of times they'll give a job description. Those job descriptions have tons of stuff in it. And a lot of times you're saying to yourself, I can't do all of this. Well, guess what? They don't expect you to. I was told by a company that what they put that in there is a wish list. I'm praying that the perfect person has all of this. Do you think I know how to do everything that was listed on the job that I got hired for? No. And they know that. I use the 20% rule. If 20% of the things listed in the job description are things that you can do better than others, go. Apply for the job. Because the other part of it is, don't rule yourself out. If you're saying to yourself, ooh, I wonder if I'm a good fit, but it's a place that you want to apply anyways. Let them make that decision. Don't rule yourself out before you're letting the company see what you do and what you could potentially bring to the table. Plain and simple, folks, this is a numbers game. The only way you are going to land jobs quickly and find the job you want is to put as many lines as possible in the water. Every single one of these lines has a hook and a piece of bait on it. That's what you need to start doing. You need to start putting more lines out. Apply for more jobs. Constantly look for ways to do it. And I'm going to share with you a couple more tips and tools on how you can do that. Search creatively. I want to be a senior sales enablement manager. I'll look up sales enablement. I'll look up senior sales enablement. I'll look up sales enablement manager. I'll put in sales enablement director. I'll put in enablement sales. And the crazy part about it is every time I put it in there, I get a different result. I'll find jobs that aren't listed. So every time you do this, if you, it's the old line, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always gotten. Don't put in the same thing every single time. You need to change it up a little bit, because if you change up what you're looking for, you have a chance of getting other opportunities. 211 jobs in 6 weeks. If you do a little math, it's about 36 job applications a week. And I did not duplicate any. So if you want to be able to find the job you're looking for and find it quick, right job you want, and give yourself the greatest opportunity, make sure you're searching creatively. Next, work on your resume and cover letter. I am not going to talk about this because there are people involved in Career Connectors that are 1,000 times better at this than I am. But I will share with you, I used ChatGPT on mine. I'm not going to talk about that either. Again, there are other people that know it better than I do. But I put my cover letter and my resume in both of those. And I got great suggestions. I got great feedback. I got great ideas on what to put in there, how to say things differently. But again, you got to use every tool you have in your bag, and ChatGPT is one of them. If you've never used it, it's really simple. I mean, if I can use it, you can use it, but just give it a shot. It'll help you out. Make sure that you track where you apply. There's nothing worse than you finding out that you've applied to the same job 3 times, and the first time you applied, they already said no thanks. And it's real simple. I'm going to go back to what Trevor said about Excel. My wife, I swear, the moment you said that, my wife must have gotten a huge grin on her face because she is a huge Excel person. But here's what I do. Okay, I put the names of the companies, I put the role that I applied for, I put any notes in D, and then under DES, I don't know about all of you, I figure if I'm going to be unemployed, I'm going to apply for unemployment. It's not a lot of money, but it's better than a kick in the teeth. So I apply all of this. Anything that has green in it are jobs that I am interviewing for. So just keep a track of it. So when you apply for a job, especially when you've done 211 applications, you'll have the opportunity to be able to learn if you apply it or not. All right, let's see where I am here. All right, we're moving along. Last thing, holy cow, I'm going to end up right on time. It's a miracle. You can't ever give up, ever. You can't. I got 100 emails from companies saying, no thanks, no thanks. I would say 60% of the jobs I interviewed with had great first interviews, had good second interviews, and then they ghost me. No email, no responses, nothing. I even follow up with that. And yes, there are times I'm sitting there going, what the heck? You can't give up. Okay, one of my favorite quotes of all time. Okay, never, never, never give up. I mean, Winston Churchill, he's a brilliant man, and he's known for quite possibly one of the simplest quotes there is. You can't give up. If you're independently wealthy, take your time. If you win the lottery, take your time. But if you were like me that got laid off unexpectedly, given 4 weeks of severance, okay, no vacation, no nothing, I had to find a job. This is what I did. If you know what you're looking for, go online, go to LinkedIn, put in the search box what you're looking for, and start applying for more jobs. Because folks, there are jobs out there. Okay, I can tell you right now, what I was applying for, there's not a lot of companies don't have sales enablement departments. Don't ever give up, because as I always like to say, if you don't give up, I get the opportunity to say, I am hoping that I never see any of you at a Career Connectors event ever again. Folks, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Dave. I love that you always end with that. Thank you, Dave. All right, there is its contact information. We are having a ton of conversation in the chat. I hope to you all that are here today that this has been helpful. So any words of thanks or anything, drop it in the chat for Dave. You're getting a lot of kudos, and thank you, Dave. We really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your story. And Dave was, let's see, I launched Career Connectors 13 years ago. Actually, next month. No, we're in July. This month, 13 years ago. And Dave, were you our first keynote speaker?
I think so.
Yeah. For outside, I spoke, of course, to get it going. But I think, Dave, I met you through a networking event or something, and I asked you, hey, I have this little group. We get about 20 people. Would you come over and talk to them about networking? And so he's been with us this whole time and always brings great information ideas. So thank you, Dave. We really appreciate you.
It is my pleasure to be here, Jessica.
Awesome. All right, you guys, there was a lot of links dropped in the chat. And so I'm getting some direct messages about, hey, I didn't get that link. If you're on the chat, you can scroll up and you can click on any of those links that you'd like. And we are sending out this presentation today. Later on after the event, you'll get the link directly to the Zoom event, the recording, so you can forward that out to other people. Because I had a couple people asking me, I'd like to show this to a couple people. You can forward that link out to other people. We're going to drop the link. If it's not already dropped, we're dropping the link to where all of our presentations are as well. So Kathleen, if you would drop that link, it's going to be on our webinar site, but you will get an email today that tells you where this link is. And so you will be able to go back and watch, fast forward, screenshot, whatever you would like to. All right. So if you have any feedback for our event today, the first portion, please feel free to email us at any time, and you can contact at careerconnectors.org with any feedback. We also have a couple additional resources for you. We offer something called the DISC assessment. This is an assessment. It's about 24 pages long. It gives you details on your soft skills. So Trevor discussed and mentioned soft skills at the beginning of or during his talk. And so this one will address that. What are your strengths in the soft skills area? What are some things you can maybe focus on? Is communication the number one thing that employers are looking for? Good communication skills. Is communication a strength for you? And if so, you should be utilizing that in your interviews and conversations. So it's really good information about your behavior style. It's free. Go ahead and link that, or go ahead and click on that link and take that assessment. We also are all over social media. Bree, we're going to have to add TikTok because we just launched TikTok and it's the craziest thing. If you all are on TikTok, it's fun and interesting. And I feel like I'm a 50-year-old lady trying to learn social media. And so it's been fun. And but I think, it's connecting to a lot of people that hadn't had an idea that a resource was like this. So good. Tammy, you love TikTok. Good. Maybe you can teach me a couple things. Get on our channel and tell me what I need to do better and what our team needs to do better as we're learning it. Thank you so much to many of our partners that are helping fund this program. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So thank you so much to these organizations. And I specifically want to talk about Best Companies AZ. Many of you I know are not from Arizona. And so you were asking, how do I get connected to jobs in my information in my local area? So Trevor went through all of that. This organization, Best Companies AZ, also they do feature primarily Arizona companies. Many of them are national, but many of their companies and clients are not only, all of them are best award-winning companies, but they also have remote positions. So some in office positions, some hybrid, and many virtual positions. A lot of times it's these best award-winning companies that offer the flexibility to be remote. So if you are interested in that, make sure that you connect to bestcompaniesaz.com. And Denise and Jenna, I know one of them at least, from that team will be in the breakout rooms. So you are welcome to jump over there and talk to them and get some ideas about additional opportunities that are open. All right, so here are our upcoming events. Here are upcoming events that we have. So once a month, we do a virtual event like this that is keynote speakers, solid, really good information, hope-filled action steps you can take. So event like this. And then we offer coaching and small group and one-on-one coaching, which you're going to get in the breakout sessions. You can jump around to different breakouts. But then monthly, at least monthly, we offer hiring events as well. We focus our hiring events either on an industry or a demographic, a community, a neighborhood, a city. And the next one that we have is our virtual hiring event is in 2 Thursdays, Thursday, July 27th. This one is on an industry specifically for insurance and financial services. And so there are 2 types of people that should be attending this event. One, if you have any finance or insurance background, 100%, you should be there. But number two is if your position, the job that you're doing, is offered in the insurance and finance services industry, you should be there also. So project manager, HR, engineering, any industry, any position that has representation in the insurance and finance industry, you should be there, because those companies like State Farm, Liberty Mutual, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, USAA, and more, they have those type of positions. So register for that one. And then we have on Thursday, August 10th, we have Unleashing Your Superpower During Job Loss and Career Transition. Jean Brees is brilliant. And then on the 24th, we have Fastest Growing Industries. And so, you know, the industries Trevor talked about that are growing nationally, those are the 5 industries, 5 that we're focusing on for this event. So there will be companies hiring from each of those industries. So now that you're on our distribution list because you've registered, you will get the information and the links to register for future events. AZ Careers Now is a specific program we're running for with Greater Phoenix Chamber Foundation. So azcareersnow.com for anyone in Arizona. There's additional information and resources for you there. Thank you to our awesome team today that is running Zoom. All the volunteers we have, we work specifically with the Resume Writers Council of Arizona. This is a group of women and men that are professionally certified resume writers, both locally and nationally certifications. They are going to be in the breakout rooms. Make sure you talk to either Martha or Donna, I think are the ones here. Amanda's here also. They are the experts on your resume. Instead of asking your aunt or your sister or your uncle for guidance, these are the professionals. And then we have a lot of coaches as well in the breakout sessions for LinkedIn, career coaching, interview coaching, and more. Someone asked in the chat, is Career Connectors is a 501c3 and is there a way to donate? Absolutely. We'd love for anyone that would like to volunteer or would like to donate, especially when you land your next job. But you can visit careerconnectors.org to volunteer, and donations can they go right through our website, careerconnectors.org. There is a donate button. And so anytime you would like to donate, especially after your job landing, or we have a couple times a year where we do promotions and for Arizona Gives Day and then Giving Tuesday, we always greatly appreciate, so we can keep this going and growing for other people to attend. Okay, I think I got everything. So much great information today, you guys. This call again will be sent out to you. I'm going to close it down, hand it over to Bree. Bree is going to walk you guys through how to join breakout sessions. And I just want you all to know that me and my team, we are praying for you, that you do land into the career of your dreams. Thank you for being here today.
Okay, I'm going to go over breakout rooms really quick. So what you'll see when I open them in just a moment is a list of all the breakout rooms. Just hover over your toolbar and click on breakout rooms, and then you'll see a list of the keynote speaker. Trevor will be on there, Dave, and then all of our resume reviewers, financial coaches, LinkedIn reviewers, and career coaches, as well as Best Companies AZ. So you're just going to hover over one of the rooms and go to the right, and you'll hit join. And then that'll take you right into the room. And then if you want to go into a different room or come back to the main Zoom session, you can do it the same way you went to another room. So I'm going to open all the rooms right now, and you should get a notice that they're open. And if anyone needs help moving into a breakout room, just let us know. If you put it in the chat and let us know where you want to go, we can manually move you. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Bree. Bree is the expert event director that runs all of our logistics. We're so glad to have her on our team. But your button, your icon for breakout rooms should be on the end, down by where your chat, or on the bottom, down by where your chat icon was. And once you click on that, you can go right into one of the breakout rooms. For career coaching, we have Jim and Tom are in their breakout rooms for career coaching. We have Kitty and Amanda doing LinkedIn today. Amanda's room is getting full, so if you want to jump over to Kitty's room, go there. Gian, oh, he's not here yet. Martha and Donna are doing resumes. And so Donna's room's starting to fill up. So I would head over to Martha's room. Of course, Trevor, do you see, are you in your room or do you see your room?
Yep, I got it.
Got it. Okay. Trevor's on his way to his room. And so if you do not see your room, the rooms, if you don't see that icon or you're having trouble getting into your rooms, just let us know. You can drop it in the chat and tell us where you want to go. Bree, can you enable screen sharing, please? Thanks, Amanda. It's coming.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so go ahead, and if you are having any issues again, or not sure, Donna cannot see